Hello everyone, dear friends, dear participants of this wonderful marathon dedicated to the readings and studies of the Holy Scripts. Also, it is for the benefit of the whole world, and we are part of that world, and whilst being here, we could do something useful. We have to consider ourselves as one uh, big family. We are relatives as souls, as children of the Lord, and everybody could contribute for the peace in the world. This should be our mindset. We are living in one house, just maybe different rooms, um, but it's the same house. Like people who live in one town, they try to sustain this town or a village. So Earth planet is also our home, and we are living here together. We are few billions here, and that's not a big number. That's very little amount of living entities who had this opportunity to obtain the human form of life. And we have to try to carry this message that we are all children of God, and that is the mood that can help us to sustain things here, not to exploit our house. And Holy Scripts, they help us. They help us and lead us towards self-realization, towards realization of God, towards realization of oneness. You know, Srila Prabhupada, he went from India to the West just in order to give us these simple basics, simple truths. So we are continuing our association, and right now we will have an interactive session. We have realizations, expectations, wishes, and questions here. Ludmila is writing. It's incredible, the mercy of Krishna and the mercy of his devotees. There are so many participants in the marathon, but instructions are received by each of us very personally. I've heard that it is possible to go to the spiritual world from the level of earth. Could you please elaborate on that? You know, Ludmila, I will tell you even more. Only from earth. Not even from earth, but only from earth. It is so. If you want to go to the spiritual world and never come back. Of course, Srila Prabhupada says that Lord Brahma can also go to the spiritual world, but have it in your mind that they started from earth. They accumulated piety here so that they could obtain these bodies of wise men, of Brahma. So this starting point is here on earth. Therefore, uh, we have to begin from here. Of course, maybe not straight away from earth to the spiritual world. It's very rare souls who could do that. For example, if you want to go directly to Vrindavan, because spiritual world can be obtained by quite numerous, but to Vrindavan only a few could go. Brahmajyoti is also spiritual world, or Nirvana, maybe Vaikuntha planets. There are so numerous Vaikuntha planets, and there you have the Lord Narayana with different moods, and souls go. Those souls go there who have this mindset of service, of reverence. So they go to the Vaikuntha planets. For example, there is a planet in spiritual world where the Lord Rama lives. It's called Ayodhya. It's abode of Lord Ramachandra, because the Lord of Ramachandra is Krishna himself, and Narayana is already an expansion of Krishna, and Lord Rama is Krishna himself. Otherwise, it's an expansion of Balarama, Vasudeva, and Ramachandra was Krishna himself. There is Dwaraka. Dwaraka is more is higher than Ayodhya. There you have Krishna himself as well. And then above Dwaraka you have Galoka Vrindavana. And to get there you can go only from earth. Only from earth. There is no other way. You have to get birth on earth. Maybe it could be from somewhere else, but I haven't heard about it. From what I heard, it was that you have to get birth here. You have to get birth in the family of Brijavasi, the inhabitant of Vrindavan. Gopa Kumar. Gopa Kumar went to the Vrindavan like that when he was walking next to Govardhan hill. And then all of a sudden he started to see that gopis and cowherd boys are waiting for someone. And so he absorbed this mood, and then he could see Krishna. And like that he entered to the spiritual world. It happened fast. But this path, it's not easy that he made. Because he made this path from the very bottom. He met a guru. He went to Jagannath Puri. He was the ruler of Arisa state. Then he went to the paradise planets. There, Indra asked him to rule the paradise. Then he went further. Brahma stopped him. The creator of this universe, Brahma, said, "Oh, Gopkumar, you are going home. Could you be one day Brahma? Could you replace me? One day I just need to rest and have some austerities." So he executed that. Can you imagine how many years passed? Then he went further. He went, he broke through the material world. He met Ganesh. First Durga, Mother Durga, the ruler of material universe. He also had met her. Then he met Ganesh, and then the Lord Shiva appeared, and then Gopakumar went further, and then he went to Vaikuntha. There at Vaikuntha he met Narayana, and then he realized that it was not his mood. That Narayana told him that you have in your heart Gopal, you don't have me as a deity, so you have to go further. So he went to Ayodhya. Ayodhya also, Lord Ramachandra went to hug him, but he didn't feel like hugging him. He realized that it was also not his abode, and so Ramachandra said, "Yes, go further." Then he went to Dwaraka, and Krishna met him. Krishna ran to him to embrace him, but then Uddhava told him that no, please don't tell him about Vrindavan to Krishna in the Dwaraka one, please, otherwise everything will be destroyed here. So Uddhava invited Gopkumar not to remind him of Vrindavan. And then Krishna in Dwaraka told him that he is waiting for him in Vrindavan. And so then he went back to earth. And like this is a journey. And from the earth he went to Vrindavan. So it's not that easy to get to Vrindavan, but we have this chance because there is a mercy of Lord Chaitanya in Samud of Srimati Radharani, and when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see this is the mood of the servant of a servant of a servant. And when we have such a mood, then we can go to Vrindavan from here, if we preach this mood and if we follow ourselves this mood. Because Srila Prabhupada insured us, he kind of took a warranty from Krishna, because Srila Prabhupada didn't want first to come, but Krishna promised Srila Prabhupada that he would be able to take anyone who would help Srila Prabhupada. And so we're just hoping for this mercy of Srila Prabhupada. But we have to really help Srila Prabhupada, not hope that we do nothing and like that. No. So I've tried to give you a picture. So actually we're in a very good situation because the wise men right now, they are having meditation that they could take birth on earth, because this time gap is very short of these 10,000 years. Natalia is writing, I really feel attracted by Sanskrit, especially when it is pronounced correctly. Yes, Sanskrit is a very sweet language. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's all also Sanskrit, and you will be able to experience such a taste. All sweet taste, so-called sweet taste of material world will disappear in comparison with the sweet taste of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There is no sweeter sound than Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So she's writing that she would like to learn how to read by and sing the Sanskrit shlokas, and so I started to listen to it in my headphones, and this sound enters my ears and goes to my heart, and I have this very strange uplifting state of my body. My concentration is sharpened and all the other sounds are not bothering me. I listen to it through headphones, but it's better to use two. Of course, if you cannot two but only one, then better to the left ear, because like this we perceive information better. It was advice that I received some time ago, and I would be happy to share it. Maybe someone can take advantage of it. Yes, thank you very much for this realization. You have to keep reading, and like this all the garbage will disappear. Your heart will be purified. If you learn some shlokas, some verses, it could be nice, and then if you sing it, it's even nicer, because in spiritual world they don't speak, they sing, and everybody is dancing there, they are not walking. It's very difficult to understand how is it that every step there is a dance, but it is the case. And if we want to go to the spiritual realm, we need to learn also. And Sanskrit is actually our native tongue, we just forgotten it. Actually, Russian has some roots which are similar, and there is similarity with Sanskrit, lots of words. Tada, tada in Sanskrit, and then we say тогда in Russian, for example. So three is in Sanskrit is like in Russian three, ади, один, два, два. So it's really similar. if you really absorb yourself with Sanskrit, you can even open, you will have ability to open different dimensions for you. And then you will even be able to see spiritual world and some leelas. But for that you need to have very clean, purified consciousness. Then there is a verse that Valmiki is saying in Sanskrit, and then Bhaktaram. Krishna says, I am enjoying everything. Yagya. Krishna enjoys yagya and all the tapa. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. All the planets, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Maha is the great, Maha mantra, great mantra. Ishvara. Ishvara is the supreme ruler. And so when you pronounce it, you will see how he's ruling and how he's sustaining everything. Suhridam. Sarvabhutanam Suhridam. He is the heart friend. Sarvabhutanam. Sarva it's all. Bhutanam is all living entities. And when you pronounce this, you can even have this vision how he is situated, how Krishna is situated in the hearts of everyone, all living entities, not just people, not just human. And that is Sanskrit. Even if, imagine, we have this silly Russian language, and even this Russian language is capable to reveal certain things in our consciousness. Imagine if even using this language we can speak and people will see some kind of story behind, and this speech is impacting us, our consciousness. Imagine what is Sanskrit then, that is not material language. How can he provoke, how he can trigger our imagination also. In this marathon, someone is writing realization without name. Okay, there is a miracle that happened during that marathon, because I've been practicing over 2 years now, and my elder sister was very skeptic about my practice. She couldn't accept fully my new life, and from time to time he tells me things that are hurting me. And deep in my heart, I always wanted that she would accept my choice fully and would stop criticizing me. And just these days, my sister, she had to come to me for a couple of days, and I have a service to do during the marathon. Also, my lifestyle is already changed completely, and it's where it was that for the sister, it was very close that she saw my lifestyle. And so Krishna gave me this opportunity and intelligence, and I understood that it was a good chance, and I decided to raise the volume of Bhagavad-Gita in my room so that she can hear it in her other room. And when we had interactive session, I asked my sister to help me. I told her, I made it up that I needed her help, that I cannot cope with my service. I put her in front of the computer and I just watched her doing what I told her to do. And at this point, Valmiki Prabhu was telling the things that were very necessary for my sister to hear. And after that, I kindly asked her to help me cooking prasad. And so, in the end of the day of this marathon, and they called my sister, telling her that the problem was resolved. And so my sister then asked me, my sister asked me in the end of the day, did you do all your rounds of japa? Do you want that I wake you up early next day? And then she started distributing prasad herself. And so we are so grateful to you, Valmiki Prabhu, that my sister now changed. Thank you for this realization. This is a good example of how Krishna is taking care of everyone, including your sister. Krishna loves your sister and he gave her this service. You know, sometimes we just don't have enough of piety, even ourselves, for ourselves. And we don't have enough piety to involve people in the devotional service. And people, they don't have enough piety to accept it. And so karma can be difficult. And so what would be the best remedy from that? Of course, it's the service. Just a little service, because by doing little service the person will obtain needed piety. You cannot even imagine that the amount of piety that the person receives, even if the service that he performed was very tiny, just very tiny thing. Any little step towards this direction will bring enormous benefit, virtue, because you are involving the soul in a natural process, in a natural for her process. Even in the spiritual world, Srimati Radharani, she experiences more happiness when she involves someone in the service, not when she serves herself, also that, but when she especially involves someone else. And Krishna is very happy how Radha is taking some cohort girl and invites her to go and to do something for Krishna. Like you can make a flower garland, or you can go with him with the swings, and Radha is doing the swings, and she invites these other girls to do the service. And I've heard even that, you know, there are many sacred things, but I've heard that Krishna is actually enjoying to serve. He really loves serving devotees, not only accept service. And devotees, they are having competition with Krishna. They want to serve him, but Krishna wants to serve them. And the biggest ecstasy and bliss the soul has when she serves Krishna. And Krishna, he also wants to serve because he also experiences happiness. And like that, they have a mutual selfless exchange of service. So when you are attracting someone or giving service to someone, you cannot imagine which virtue this person can get. So I'm very glad for this realization of yours. We just need some piety. Let us wish your sister, let us all in this marathon wish your sister that she would become very quickly a pure devotee and have love towards Krishna, and went out of she would escape this samsara. Laris is writing, spiritual emotions from chanting of Krishna Mishra overwhelming my heart, and it is wonderful Brahman, and he transmits the taste. And thank you to those who organize these sessions. Yes, if everything goes well and they open the borders, we will organize the trips to India again, and you would be able to join us in this wonderful transcendental company. Every day we would chant in different holy places. Artem is writing. Krishna has created this isolation, these conditions that we can plunge into these studies, and I'm thankful to all those who organized it. Artem, you have very positive thinking. That's a lot of that's opinion of a lot of people because those who couldn't dive in these prayers or he didn't have time to read. Krishna probably reciprocated and thought like that he could help. Well, of course, we will not maybe say this absolutely because maybe then Krishna, someone will not like Krishna for that. Irina is writing. I'm reading Bhagavad-Gita without Sanskrit because I don't understand what is the way to pronounce it. You know, I'm reading. First, I thought that we should read without Sanskrit, but now there is a Sanskrit, and I'm reading it, and like that, I'm doing it on purpose so those who listen they can follow. They can follow and hear how you read it. At first, you just observe and listen, and then you can go with me synchronically, whispering, and then slowly you will learn. Just keep putting your efforts in this direction. If you have this tendency or desire to learn the Sanskrit, it means that past previous life you already studied Sanskrit. So now if you put a little bit of effort, you will really learn fast, I think. Jeanne is writing. My relatives do not believe in any religion. They say that all religions are written by humans. How could I explain them that the Vedic scriptures are bona fide and truthful? Well, of course, all the scripts are written by people. Vyasadeva, he took the body of a human. It is Krishna himself, God, but he took embodiment like a human. Bible also was written, but it was a plan. Someone had to write. And in the end of the day, you don't have to prove anything. Your relatives will not take any arguments now. Don't waste your time. You know, mm, this is not the reason why they don't believe in any religions. The real reasons, the two real ones, are envy and the desire, um, and the, and the desire not by any means not to surrender to Krishna. This is the real reasons, and you cannot do anything. You know, once one lady who was occupying the post of minister of education or helper of this minister, she said, there was a video where she was speaking. The story was that one girl, she was making a research about Bhagavad-Gita, and she was trying to make this research, bringing up arguments. And it's been a while already. And this lady in the video, this ministry says, and she says that Bhagavad-Gita is imagination of people. And you know, this moment when I saw that, I was really upset. I thought, wow, this is a minister of education, and he's saying such a silly thing. And I immediately wanted to ask her to imagine something similar if she was the Minister of Education. Can you do that? No. This is just the lack of piety of these people. And if your relatives don't have enough piety, they reject, they don't understand. You know what you could do? What you could do is just maybe read something very simple to them. Very simple. Something that they could accept. For example, you describe them. You know, your body was a body of a child. Now you are growing old. Is it imaginary or it's real? And then you can ask them, you know, your body is changing, and are you changing yourself? Are you changing inside of your body? No, you're not changing. So your body is changing. Or for example, you can ask them, do you have any senses of information, like touch, hear, sight? You know, yes, they do. They do. So this is a science about the soul. And with simple things like that, you can explain maybe some little things, but nothing too complicated. If they don't want to listen, let it be. It's your life, and you just pray for them. You know, believe, if whether they believe or not, anyway they will have to die, you know. mm, and you can even say, you know, in Vedas, this is bona fide saying, um, that you will have to die and you have to have diseases. If you want to believe it or not, that will have to happen to you. If people don't believe, if they don't want to listen, you really can't do much. If they want to listen but they don't believe, that's better. Then you have a chance to bring arguments. But that is only when they want to listen. But if they don't want to listen, then don't. Also in Vedas we find this statement that if you are trying to preach to those who do not want to take it, it is an offense actually. So what you could do, however, is just give them prasadam. You don't need to tell them that this is prasad. Uh, just a certain point they will collect the piety, and that might help. I had such example. You know, back in the day, I was distributing books from time to time. So I was communicating with people on the streets. And sometimes you could see that the person doesn't want to take anything and that he looks at you with a big arrogance. And yet you approach him with a pile of books, and this person, he was really rejecting all the books, and I just knew deep inside that he just doesn't have enough piety. And so I made it up that I need to tie my shoes, and I asked this person to hold my books, and I asked him, could you please hold the books? And this person was just standing and holding the books, and because he was holding the books, he was doing this service without realizing that he is participating in this mission. And whilst you were pretending that I was pretending that I was tying the shoe, uh, I did the second shoe. And so I stood up, I took the books back, and then he already had enough piety, and he already started to speak to me. He wouldn't leave even, and he would keep the dialogue, and in the end he would say, yeah, okay, I will take uh, if. And so he even didn't understand that this is because of the service that he did, that he helped me to hold the books. And by taking the book, it's another service that he made, and like this he can progress. You can ask someone to wash the fruits, and then you offer them to Krishna, and like this these people participated. Anastasia is writing. I had after 2 days of completely diving into the marathon, resulted in totally having like a square head, and I cannot take it any more of knowledge, and I feel like I cannot, but I want to continue. I want to continue. Okay, Anastasia, that's very well. Your box indeed is full, but not the full of knowledge of transcendental Bhagavad-Gita, but because there is a lot of other things that were there. There was another garbage before, so you have to chant holy name, because like this it will purify your heart, in other words mind, from these impurities. And even if you don't understand anything, you can keep reading Bhagavad Gita. You have to read at least 3 times Bhagavad Gita full, in order that it starts to open itself to you. So I'm very happy that you have this determination to continue the marathon. I read that you have a big internal struggle that you fight, and Krishna, I'm sure Krishna takes it as a service, because he sees that you are fighting for him, that you are fighting for the friendship with Krishna, you are fighting for the love and relationship with him. He perceives it like this, and therefore he will pour mercy on you. Okay, she's right in that she has a desire to go to the river and just bathe. Yes, water is the something that carries prana, and this is the vital energy. Yes, prana. So if you go bathing, it's always auspicious. And we have here where I am also the river where I go frequently. She's writing. I'm very thankful to everybody who gives this inspiration. Okay, and we are also thanking you for these realizations. Larissa, the more I listen to the readings of holy scripts, the more I want to listen, and everything else becomes tasteless. Yes, and there will be time in the future. You will have some time in the future when you would when you would find yourself in a situation of regretting that you have only 2 years, not thousands of years, because of this sweetness. Srila Prabhupada says in purports that we have to listen. Why listen? Because this is how we purify, and then pure devotees, they can't stop listening. Like Maharaj Parikshit, he was fasting for 7 days. He was not sleeping. He was just listening to this nectar. It's so sweet. For example, my question to all the audience: do you like when someone is telling something about you, something very nice and inspiring, and you overhear it by chance? Do you like that? Uh, how long are you ready to listen to that? Very long, right? Because they speak about you something good. So imagine what Krishna experiences when they speak about him. And because he is situated in your heart, he is experiencing happiness, and you will be experiencing the happiness. And that's why it will be difficult to stop. We will read in Chaitanya Charitamrita when Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would ask in desperation, tell me more about Krishna. Mahamantra is Krishna himself. It's not just a impersonal vibration. It's himself, and gradually our consciousness purifies and our ability to listen will be sharpened. Right now it's a little bit dusty, it's not that good, but it's very important to continue. Shravanam is the most important, it's the first stage of the spiritual practice, hearing. Yelena is writing. Yesterday's at a women's meeting, we were discussing the 10th chapter, the verse 34, and we got confused. We got confused because there were two editions of Bhagavad-Gita. In one edition, the translation was patience, and another one is also patience, but slightly different. Could you elaborate, and could you give the good understanding of patience? And also, could you explain why these are the women qualities? You know, there is not a big difference. Patience, endurance. You know what is important when you read is the essence itself. In English, for терпение and терпеливость, there is actually one translation, which is patience. So here we're speaking about these little shades or nuance of the translation into Russian. So kshama is this quality of patience. I have difficulty to understand what is needed now, because I don't see difference between this терпение and терпеливость. It might be something grammatical. Conjugation. Yes, even though here it's written, here it's written that it's like among women I'm fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. You know, we have to regard ourselves not as women or men. Probably it is fallen to the woman's qualities because there are different goddess that are responsible for that. But men also should use this quality of patience. Men should also take example. You know, women's lives are much harder. There are so many things they have to do, and the most difficult thing for them to tolerate is this crazy mind. And I like, how do you tolerate that? So men also should learn this quality. Imagine a woman has to give birth, to raise, to feed, to inspire everyone, to clean. You have to have a patience. Yes, I think it's not a man's quality, but it is considered to be Brahmanic qualities. You know, Brahmans also have this quality, patience. So Brahmanas, they possess this quality of tolerating and being patient. Olga is writing. Could you please help with the question how to put priorities and how to realize the woman's nature? Just I recommend that you target the emotions that you experience towards Krishna. Try to think about Krishna, try to do something for Krishna, sew clothes for him, feed him, take care of him. You can love him as it was a child. Of course, it is with a little bit of metaphor, but don't be surprised that at certain point you will feel attraction towards Krishna because Krishna is all attractive. Krish, it's a magnet, like principle of attraction. He is all attractive. So the day will come when he will attract you with something. And like this, you can engage your woman's nature. You can clean for him. You can bathe him, put garments. You have to do it emotionally because this form of woman is emotional. Now, this is one thing. Also, if you are married, And if your husband is a devotee, or he's trying to be, you could inspire him, because there is this mistake that lots of women do. They try to exploit the man and think that this is love. They think they can even put a goal. I want husband that my husband he will deliver me to the spiritual world, for example. But this is contamination. This is not a woman's nature. This is the nature of exploitation. There will be no spiritual progress. You will be just fed up with it at a certain point, because if you have such a mood, uh, your partner, your spouse, will also feel the mood, and he will also exploit you. He will also think that I need a wife, that she will help me to go to spiritual world. And so these two self-centered people, they will have problems. They will be having like dissatisfaction, and they will go to the others to complain on each other. No, I recommend that a woman should fall in love. Not only woman, that we should fall in love in Krishna. Dot. There is no point in falling in love in this material body full of bones and I don't know, liquids. Fall in love with Krishna, and just put him as your goal. Like the saint lady, she had this little doll of Krishna, and then she grew up and forgot about this doll. But then, when the time came to marry, and the father told her, "My dear daughter, it's time for you to get married. There are different kings who came to marry, to ask for your hand. You can choose, because they're all so nice, so many good qualities. They're smart and they are very fearless, and rich." And this woman, she looked at father and told him, "My dear father, what are you talking about? I am already married. I don't need anyone. I don't need anyone." But the father didn't understand. He thought she was not serious. Father thought she was still a child. But the daughter meant it seriously. She wanted to marry Krishna, and like she said that she was married. So the father invited her to go and pray, because father hoped that she would purify. And so the daughter went to the altar room, and she approached Krishna and she asked, "Krishna, what is this business going on? I'm already married and I gave you my heart. Why do I need to marry? Because you have to save me now. They will marry me by force. No, I don't want. Please save me. You are my husband. I don't need anyone else." And so the father was waiting and waiting behind the door. Then he said to the servant, "Go call her, because we are gathered here. It's not a joke." So they came into the altar room, and there was no one, just the clothes of this lady. And Krishna also was not at the altar. They were both gone. Krishna just took her. This is, of course, very elevated and not for everyone. But now that you are in this body, material body, you have to serve your husband. You have to inspire your husband from the standpoint that you see Krishna in their heart. You have to have friendships between yourselves. And don't forget to chant holy names and read the Leelas of Krishna. Try to target and channel all emotions there. Try to cook for Krishna, not for your husband, even though you can say it in your mind. And then you can leave this world and go to spiritual world already after this life and not wait to another birth. Because women usually who don't have enough firm faith, they are getting attached. They are getting attached to the husband because he's representative of God. And because they were attached to the body of the husband, they receive the next lifetime. They receive the man's body as they were attached to their husband, and this is usually their last birth. But if your husband, of course, leaves to the spiritual world, you will go there. You following him. Someone might think that the woman's main nature is to give birth. Don't think like that. There are women who don't even give birth. They follow the path of devotional service and they don't want to give birth and they don't need husbands. This is rare. They don't self-identify with the body. Okay. Yelena is writing. Please, could you explain in the verse 4:18 about action and non-action? I cannot understand what it is. 4:18. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. There is a purport of Srila Prabhupada here, and he explains it very nicely. We will be reading it now. A purport of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. A person acting in Krishna consciousness is naturally free from the bonds of karma. His activities are all performed for Krishna. Therefore, he does not enjoy or suffer any of the effects of work. Consequently, he is intelligent in human society, even though he is engaged in all sorts of activities for Krishna. Akarma means without reaction to work. The impersonalist ceases fruitive activities out of fear so that the resultant action may not be a stumbling block on the path of self-realization. But the personalist knows rightly his position as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Good acts will bring a good fruit, and even good fruit can imprison you. because the good fruit means that you will have to go to the paradise planet or hear something good. But when you do this for Krishna without being attached to the fruit, then there is no any fruit. Therefore, you nothing ties you. So that means karma. The actions are without karma. So once again, mm, personalist knows rightly his position as the eternal servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Because everything is done for Krishna, he enjoys only transcendental happiness in the discharge of this service. So, you will have to act, but because you don't have fruits of your action, it looks like you are not doing anything. You are safe. Nothing. You're doing nothing. Mhm. Mhm. Even if they say to you, no, it's you who is doing. You can say, no, this is the body who is doing. The nature is doing. There are different qualities of nature here. But me, I'm a soul. I didn't do anything. But even if I did something, it was Krishna conscious, so it was for Krishna. So I was doing the duty for him. My duty was to make a whale, for example. Sorry, well. And so I perform this duty and I do not appropriate any fruits. So, Elena, it means that there are no fruits. Inaction means no fruits. You're dedicating it to the Lord, so you stay clean from them. Marina is writing, in Bhagavad-Gita, I heard this such an expression like a cloud that is torn apart. Would you elaborate on that? Okay, let's see what Prabhupada says. We have to open. Sixth chapter, text 38. It's Krishna who is asking, Arjuna who is asking Krishna. And so Srila Prabhupada is saying there are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence, therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development or in promotion to the high planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of the transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so called material happiness. If the aspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a riven cloud. A cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But if it cannot join, But if it cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. So, what do we mean here? When we are together, for example, we came to into spiritual organization, we want to practice spiritual life. We see that people are adequate, that they create nice families, they have a certain income, they have children, so it looks like normal society. We see that they're adequate people, they have jobs, they have a normal life. So we think to ourselves, okay, it looks like it's my path. And so now we are together with them, and it's like being attached to this big cloud. This big cloud is protecting us, and we can progress. Even if we misunderstand something, there is always this support, always inspirations, care. You are fine. But the second that you try to separate yourself with thinking that, oh, I myself, I will do something, then you will be lost in this crazy world. There are so many philosophies in this world, and you will be gone. No one will be able to track you. I'm speaking, of course, an example. Why it will be difficult to find you? Because the life is so short, and the person who never found a shelter somewhere, you know, when the soul exits this body, she will be lost, she will take birth again, some bird, some insect, and so much time will pass by before it takes the human form of life again. There are so many billions of forms of life, 8 millions forms of life, and some forms you can repeat and repeat. For example, you took birth as a fly. A human in the next life can take the birth of a fly, and he is flying, and then he entered some apartment, and some wife, how like housewife, she killed you, and then you have to take the birth of a fly again, because you were killed. You have to finish it. And then you will have to exchange with this lady, and so then you will take a birth of a human, and she will have to take a birth of a fly, and you will have to kill this fly. you know this can last forever. That's why we say this is a huge world, material world, and the soul is thrown here and there. The soul can really go and get lost. Also, in Vedas, we find this a comparison about attachment. Mm, People can live together 1 life, 2 lives, 3 lives, 10 lives, but then they might be separated. They can separated and never meet again as souls. Imagine an ocean and a little sand, and in the sand you have these grains of sand which are staying kind of together, but then the wave comes, and what is the chance that these two little grains of sand would remain after this wave? There is very little chance. And like that, people are attaching for a couple of lives, maybe 10 lives, but then they separate and they might not meet. So we shouldn't be attached to relatives, to children, to family. We can be anyone. We can be a woman, a family man, but just this attachment can impact um our spiritual progress. So you're asking what is this riven cloud, and that's what I'm trying to explain, how it is to be riven and how to we can get lost in this material existence. Right now, some people have impression that they are the king of the world. But imagine now you are king of the world, even the whole planet, yes, because there were such times that the kings were not only for one country, but the whole planet. But Mother Earth would tell, you know, I've seen so many of you. I've seen so many. You know, you are all gone, and I'm still here. I'm not belonging to anyone, Mother Earth says. Yes, today you are a king, but tomorrow you are just dust on the road. You were attached to me. You thought it was your motherland, and now you became a little piece of dust. So, Srila Prabhupada invites us to be a part of a bigger cloud. The real also spiritual organization, it does not gather money from people. You know, just sometimes we need to solve certain things, organize things. We need to pay the bills. Um, so we need to sustain the temples. And then this organization can help. This is normal. Without organization, without religious organization, these days it's really hard to progress. It's very rare souls who can do that without organization. Nowadays we need this support. Alexei is writing. Thank you very much for your help. Everything is clear and easy with you. I have a question. How can I protect my 16 years old daughter from Karmic Association with Karmic Friends? We don't have any devotees around us. We live in a village. Well, here you have to become a friend for your daughter. You have to now stop the role of the father. Of course, you are still remaining a father, but this role is not important as much as is your role of a friend at the moment. You have to take care of your daughter as a friend. Friend means that you are interesting to her. You are interesting person to her. But because we have parents, a lot of times parents are not being interesting for the children. They are just controlling children. Then being around 10 years old, children, they start already to manifest the need to have friendly relationship with parents. Of course, as bodies, as we're not having the same. Someone is child, someone is a parent, but as souls, we can be on the same level. And so, children, they start to search for these friendships because they need to self-realize socially as well. And then you will not be able to do much, you know. then once she finds friends, it will not matter if it's good friends or bad friends, bad association. It will already not matter. It will be difficult to change that. So you have to open up certain sacred things. You have to come down to this equal level in a way. You have to pay respect certain things. You have to um, sustain this friendship, and like this you could um, protect her. It's important that you also give her this nice philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Like this, she could preach her friends also. But that is only if she feels you are a friend to her. If you are not her friend, you can't do much. And also, you don't have to have this motive of some kind of hidden motive. I want to keep my daughter, so I'm her friend. No, it has to be selfless. It has to be selfless because otherwise there is no friendship, and if there is no friendship, there is no love. There cannot be any love without friendship, actually. I will bring one example that came to my mind. Once we came to one town, I don't remember which, it's been a while, and we came to one rich person, really rich, and we were together with Krishna Mishra. It's a friend, not a friend, but acquaintance of Krishna Mishra. And this person experienced difficulties and he asked for help. So we came. He had a huge house, like a palace. And so, of course, rich people are usually a little bit proud, arrogant. So we came. Krishna Mishra introduced me by saying, "This is a monk." So this rich person said, "Okay." So he started showing us what he had, all his possessions, the different floors. Of course, he wanted to that we appreciate. He hoped that I would appreciate his huge house. But me, I didn't care deep inside. It is a beautiful house, but who cares anyway? If there is no Krishna consciousness in it, it's just the house for dogs. That's my mindset in a way. If there is no Krishna consciousness, then there is just cats and dogs who live there, like animals with animalistic needs. Of course, I didn't say it out loud. I was just waiting for the moment. I was praying deep inside, trying to understand how to help this person. So we started communicating. We are associated. We had dialogue in this big living room, and he was just saying and saying and saying, and I was praying and praying and praying. And I was the only thing I was praying for is how to help this person. What is his problem? And then I saw a painting. Krishna reciprocated. Krishna usually reciprocates. He helps and guides us all actually, not, he guides all living entities from within the heart. Sometimes we think that it's us, but no, it's Krishna. Krishna is directing us. We cannot oversee our destiny, actually. There will be one last question. In Russian, there is such a word as совесть, which is very particular. There is no analog in many languages. In English, it's like conscience. But Valmiki Prabhu explains that this совесть thing is the Lord in the heart. This voice of the Lord, and usually Krishna speaks through intelligence. Because if Krishna speaks directly, we will lose consciousness from happiness. So intelligence is telling us, okay, you have to do that, you don't have to do that. And this voice of intelligence, it can be hidden by gunas, because if a person is in a lot of ignorance, even if there is this voice, he will not hear it very well. But if the person is in virtue, material virtue, then it's better. But if the person already is pure virtue, then he will follow Krishna already very steadily. And so what happened in this story? I come back to the story. Then Krishna arranged in a way that he sent the daughter of this rich man. This daughter, maybe around 15 years old, she passes along. She actually exits one room and goes to another room. And it's a very long way to over, because the house is big. And this father is so proud, sitting on the chair, and he sees his daughter and he perceives her just as another possession. He really feels that all the house is his, this car is his, and the daughter is also his. And the daughter is passing by, and he asks her arrogantly, "Where are you going?" Like in this unpleasant, controlling manner. But the daughter, of course, is also very proud, and she responds to him in a similar way. And she says, "What do you care where I'm going?" And then she pushed the door and disappeared. And this person was totally destroyed inside. Externally, he was trying to hold on, but inside you could see that it hurted him a lot, and he had inner struggle because it was in front of us. That happened in front of us. And then he tried to say, "Oh, those children," but you could understand that it was a knockdown. And then he was so upset. He was not understanding how to deal with the daughter, because she didn't want to be under his control, because these children, they would never be okay with this control. Once they grow up a little bit, they rebel. And so I asked him, "Why aren't you being friends with her? Why you are looking at her as your possession? Children are not the toy for the adults. These are personalities. You have to become friends. You have to count with her interests. She already is growing up. She has her ambitions, her dreams. You have to take it into account. But if you are friends with her and she likes you and you spend quality time together, she will stay home. She will not get into bad company." And similarly, Krishna is our best friend. He wants to play with us, and we're so arrogant at a lot of times. We think, "Oh, this God, doesn't exist even." and we are really arrogant. And Krishna says, I'm still your friend. Even if you take birth as a piglet, I'm still gonna be your friend. And I will make it for you everything that you will like the stool, that you will be diving in it as well. I will arrange things for you. I will give you a special body for that. Because, I will have to do this for you because yourself you can't do even that. I will just help you with the help of, by means of gunas and nature. I also will help you to pass too because yourself you cannot do anything. So it's a real friend. But some people are totally illusioned saying there is no God. So, Alexei, my advice to you is to become friend to your daughter. And also try to look at her as a soul, not as your daughter only. So it looks like I replied to Natalia's questions, who asked about this совесть, consciousness inside. All right, here we would finish for now. The time is up. We have some questions. We will leave them for the next live. Thank you very much, everyone, for your association, for your realizations, for inspiration that you share. I wish everyone to have a good mood, and I see you in our evening readings. Thank you.